Okay, so today, for the next installment of this package manager series, I wanted to look at snaps. So snaps are another way to package software so it can run on Linux. Snap, the technology has been developed by Canonical, this company here, for quite some time. They've been supporting this effort and hosting the Canonical Snapcraft store, which is here. And you can search in the store for a lot of common things like, say, Skype, and you're able to look for the freely available, it's not always freely available, but the software that's available to run. And then all of this can be installed in Linux. In Ubuntu, which is also made by Canonical, Ubuntu pushes snaps quite heavily. We can see that when we look for an application, the application can be chosen of whether or not you want to install it from the snap store, or if you want to snap install, say, the .deb. The difference, again, between, well, I shouldn't say again, but the purpose of snaps is that you can sort of build the software in one sort of format once, and then because it then runs, just like Flatpaks, it runs in sort of its own sandbox, its isolated environment. And the software is packaged once, can run kind of anywhere. That's kind of like the idea. So rather than say a .deb or a .rpm or an AUR, those types of packages which are built specifically for a single kind of Linux distribution, the snaps can be sort of run anywhere. This is very similar to Flatpaks. Now, when we look at snaps and we want to understand like how the sandboxing and sort of how they kind of work, the snaps, you can see them from the command line. So you can just type snap list, and this brings up a list of all the snap packages that we have in the desktop. This is Ubuntu. Now, when you do a snap, you can also use the command line to also do a search. So you can search for, we're going to look for a calculator. We can just type snap search. Snap search then comes up, and even from the command line, you can also do a snap install. It asks for a password. So that's one difference between, say, Flatpaks and snaps, is the snaps generally need to have root permission, so the same permission that you would use for installing with almost any other package manager. With Flatpaks, they can run with just user permission. So users, even without root, are able to install and run Flatpaks. When we look at snaps, the way the snap package works is they actually have kind of like their own file systems. So if you run a df-alh command, you can actually see all the snaps here. We have this dev loop 0, 1, 2, 3. All of this is parts of the snap packages, which then get mounted in sort of like their own isolated instance. So you can actually see this kind of isolation. I believe in older versions of Ubuntu, if you just did a -dflh, you'd be able to see it. I think in order to keep some of the details to a minimum, I think that's changed over the years. So you need to do the -a command for all. But actually, like, see and work with the snaps. Snap, if you just do the command line and tap --help, you can get a lot of the things, basic information. And it works very much like apt. It's just that everything you're putting in is a snap, it's sandboxed. There is a little bit of controversy around snaps versus, say, like Flatpaks. I think both technologies are generally considered good because it allows developers to more quickly package applications, and they don't need to target so many different instances. If we do a list of our snaps again, we can see that Firefox, so the web browser, that we're using, this is actually running as a snap package. And that was actually a request from Firefox to Canonical to actually sort of distribute that way. So Firefox didn't need to compile for so many different versions of Ubuntu anymore. I think it still gets recompiled. There's still app packages of Firefox for Debian and a lot of other distributions. But for Ubuntu, they've moved forward to just using their snap packages. One thing to note about snap packages as well is that for smaller applications, occasionally the startup time can be a little bit slow. Now, I know that Canonical's been working on this quite extensively, and I have to say, right now we have 2 calculator apps. This is the original one that came from the desktop, which is a .deb package, so it's installed using apt and everything. And this is the snap package that we just installed. So we can launch this, and you see it takes a couple of seconds, which is maybe a little bit odd for, say, a calculator app. But, and just to compare, we can start the native one, which comes up maybe a couple seconds quicker. So for anything which is light that you're starting and stopping, and it's like kind of like a basic functionality, maybe you want to think of like the native app or the app that's built for the Linux distribution you're running. But in general, there's nothing wrong running the snap. And if it's going to be like a large file, like say you're running a game, of which there's lots of games on the Snap Store that you can go and run, you wouldn't really notice too much of a difference because it takes a while to start the application anyways. And those larger applications, like once everything's running and it's in memory, I don't think there's like a huge difference in terms of performance between them. So it's another package management system, or it's another way of getting software to run on Linux, and it's something which I think people should be aware of. So I hope this is helpful, and thank you very much.